Ah, okay, hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and we are on this journey through. I forget the name of it. The Pick Your Poison Challenge. I even have a thing to write down all 30 of these when I eventually do them. Uh, I pulled out sequel, as you know, and I've chosen the Skulls 2. Trust me, this is the Skulls trilogy set, as you can see. But it only puts the first one on there for some reason. So a backstory here. You know, I was originally set to review this like a week or so ago, and partway through the film, the DVD froze. Could not watch it. Tried cleaning it off, still nothing. So I had to reorder the Blu-ray set. I ordered the Blu-ray set, and finally able to watch this movie. This is a good movie, man. It's not better than the first one, but it's a good movie. And the director of this film is Joe Chappelle, and it goes to show you when Joe Chappelle is able to do his thing, he can give you a pretty good movie. Like, he's had some problems. I mean, he directed The Phantoms. He directed Phantoms, and we all know that was the bomb in Phantoms, yo. But he also directed the ill-fated. He directed one and did some reshoots on another two ill-fated movies. That being the Halloween 6 Curse of Michael Myers, which I credit his work to the producer's cut because that was what he originally envisioned. And then the studio came in and did reshoots. I believe he did the reshoots too, but I don't think that was any part of what he had to do, and they put some stupid editing in it. And then he was just forced to do reshoots for Hellraiser Bloodline and change that movie up as well. So studios just need to leave stuff the hell alone. And this was to show that when you just let him direct the movie, he can direct the movie. Once again, it revolves around the secret society of skulls, but in a different place, of course. When our main character is Ryan, played by Robin Dunn, who I know from Sanctuary, the show that was on the Sci-Fi Channel. There are many actors in this film. Like, I knew a couple of actors from the first one. Well, a few actually. Craig T. Nelson, William Peterson, Joshua Jackson, Paul Walker. I knew them. But in this one, I know these from too, but those were more from my adult life. These were more from when I was a younger, growing up with Disney Channel and Nickelodeon, stuff like that. They had a lot of Canadian TV shows, and this was filmed in Canada, as you can tell by the actors they chose. You have Christopher Ralph, who played Tobias on Animorphs, was also in the Disney Channel show In a Heartbeat, which was a Canadian show that they got to run on there. You also had Lindy Booth, who was also on Disney Channel. Famous Jet Jackson, she played Hawk on that show. And Aaron Ashmore, not Sean Ashmore as I previously thought, but Aaron Ashmore, was more towards my adult, but I do remember him from a couple episodes of Are You Afraid of the Dark growing up. And he was on Smallville later in my life. So he was Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen, not really Jimmy Olsen. That show is so confusing sometimes. Yeah. And Ashley Lynn Cafagna, if you pronounce that name right, she played the girlfriend, Allie, and she was in Saved by the New Class. I didn't even know that was her. It doesn't even look like her. Different from what she was Liz on that show. She looked different. She had like blonde hair. Here she has dark hair. She looks very different. The story revolves around Ryan, who sees a fellow schoolmate accidentally die on top of the Skulls Club's house. When he tries to get the truth to come out, the Skulls turn against him, and he is ultimately forced. They try to force him to cover it. They try to cover it up and try to keep him quiet. They, end up following him around in a conspiracy, and even turn his girlfriend against him, which is a whole another thing to talk about. So, yeah, I think the acting in this is pretty good. I think the actors do great. You got some good actors here. Robin Dunn is a great actor, underrated actor, I should say. He's been in stuff. Species 2, 3. Species 3, this, Sanctuary, he's been in stuff. Mostly sequels, from what I could tell. He's been in a lot of sequels. But, yeah, he's good in this. Even Lindy Booth is good. The actor who played Parker in this, I thought he was good at being this sleazy, stuffy, cocky, asshole type character. The only one that really kind of was Aaron Ashmore. He kind of just he was playing this guy, if they wanted, okay, so no offense to Aaron Ashmore, but I've always seen the twins. There's twins, Sean and Aaron Ashmore. Sean is the more muscly, buff. If you need a strong, tough guy, you pick him. Aaron Ashmore is the more nerdy, smart guy type character. Yeah, they cast Aaron Ashmore, and to me, he doesn't come across as this big. I mean, he's taller than Robin Dunn, but he doesn't come across as this big muscle. I'm pretty sure they put extra T-shirts on him to make him look. He looks kind of, I don't want to say chunky, but a little more. I don't know. They made him put on a little bit of weight to make him look more threatening, but Aaron Ashmore never came. And you could how you tell there. If you stand them next to each other, there is a bit of a difference to them, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, he's and one thing that this movie, the first movie, did better than this one. Ooh, 5 o'clock Central Time. Why are you yawning? And you had your nap. So one thing that the first film does better is introducing our main character. In that one, you start with introducing the character. You get introduced to him first, and then you get thrown into the skull thing. Right away, we're thrown into the skull trials, and it's okay. And they do this thing where they get this mark on their arm, which I don't think was in the first one, to be honest. And it makes less sense here with what happens towards the end. He's always going to have that scar on his arm now. I don't know. They also have this appearance from this guy who was a senator, and it feels like they wanted to have William Peters' character, Senator Litton, here, or Senator whatever it was, Senator I forgot it was the senator from the first one, William Peters' character, but they have a different one, I guess. I don't know. It feels like that's where his character would have gone, this different senator, And then once again, it kind of gets to that point where, this secret society is everywhere. It's watching your every move, to a point that it almost doesn't make any sense. So, he's, he pulls a prank, and he and his, what do they call them? Blood brothers, whatever they're called. Jeff, they're forced to clean up the place. While they're doing that, they see Hutch, who's Aaron Ashmore's character, with a girl, Diana Rollins, up on the roof. She falls to her death. And when he tries to report it, they're like, oh no, Hutch is fine. He hasn't been up there, whatever. And when he tries to push it, they start to say, oh no, Diana Rollins was nowhere near the clubhouse. She's actually on a trip. Now, that could have worked. Oh, she's on a trip. But then they decide to fake her death, or make her death an accident when they're driving. She was driving and she crashed her car and died in a car accident. To me, if you're they're oh, Diana Rollins just moved away. She decided she wanted to live there, so she moved closer. All her stuff is gone. You can't really prove anything. But for it to come across the TV that this person that he's trying to say that died that night ends up dead anyway, it's suspicious. It's well, why did you say she was dead? Why didn't you make up a story? Or Diana Rollins left the school, she moved back home, or she moved to a new place. She went somewhere else. Sure, he could have still tracked down and tried to figure it out, but it'd be less obvious that, oh, she's still dead. Okay. Sure. And the whole thing was they didn't want Ryan to push the subject, so they started to force things around his life. But the fact that they were doing this, that they tricked his girlfriend, who, like, okay, my question is, did um they talk her into making him kick her in the face so that she had the black eye? Like, after the incident happens, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna be in trouble for assault if you keep pushing this. She's gonna go to the police and she's gonna press charges on you for hitting her." Well, it was an accident. Well, you can't prove that. And all of a sudden, she's dating Hutch for some reason. Oh, you hit her because she's dating me, and it's like that comes out of fucking nowhere. That, like, oh, you hit my girlfriend? It's like no, that makes no sense. And there are witnesses that saw them together, so I don't understand why it would be like. If anything, it makes her look like a whore. You know what I mean? Like, she was with him walking around, going on a date, and then with Hutch. So there are people that saw them together. They're sure they can be bought off. Everyone? I don't know. But she's being bought off because she wants to be popular. She's one of those girls where, oh, you're going to be a skull, so we're going to be popular. That's all it was. Even towards the end when she admits, oh, we could have been the it couple. And it's like, no. That's to justify why she would turn on him. That's the only thing that I really hated about this, is that she was like his loving girlfriend and turned on him on a dime, and then, like, oh, we get to justify why she turns. She's one of those people that just wants to be popular, which you never got that from the beginning of it, but he doesn't end up with Lindy Booth though, because she tries to confront. Lindy Booth plays, I don't remember the character's name off the top of my head, but she's the roommate of Allie. She's Allie's roommate. And she confronts her about it. She's like, oh, I guess you'll be moving out because I have. Allie's like, well, I guess you'll be moving out because the lease is in my name. Well, according to Boy Meets World, the lease being in your name don't mean jack shit. They can kick you out. It still frustrates me. The lease was in Jack's name. They can't kick him out. People saying, oh, well, you know what? You can do that. No, to me, you can't. But, yeah, the lease is in my name, so you have to leave. Well, tell that to Jack Hunter on Boy Meets World, because he got kicked out by 3 girls who weren't even on the lease, so. But, yeah. So, so this is what gets me here. So they're in his apartment. She goes to stay with him. They're in his apartment, and they kiss, and then he sees that there is a bug on his little toy car thing or whatever it is. And so they leave and they go on a bus. And they just take the bus to wherever. They don't have it planned out. They just go wherever. And so they try to call his brother and find out his brother got fired from the law firm. They get a call right after from someone from the Skulls saying, we're watching you. And then there's a van right there. Bullshit. There's no fucking way they could have known where he was going to go. Sure, you could say maybe they were watching the law firm, but were they at the law firm? Or was it just some payphone on the side of the thing? Or just, it doesn't make any sense how they, yes, the whole thing's supposed to be, oh, they track every move, but they got on a bus and went wherever. It wasn't a bus that said anything on it. This one goes there. No, it's a random bus going wherever. There's no way they could have tracked that, and there's no way they could have known he was going to talk to his brother. He didn't go to the law firm. He called it. And you could say, oh, they put a wiretap on his phone, but isn't it a payphone? They put a wiretap on every payphone? It just doesn't make any sense to me. They decide they're going to get the coroner's report. So his brother shows up to help him because these Skulls have basically screwed him over. And then, so they go to the coroner, who's obviously paid off by the Skulls, and he's like, was this a test? Because I did what your boss has told me to do. Basically, he's been paid off. Much like with the Will Beckford, because they do bring it up, and they do talk to Will Beckford's parents in this. So I thought that was a great connection to the first one. The whole thing was set up because they say that it was a prank done on one of the Skull members. And he digs into it and finds out it wasn't a prank. And they said that whole thing was also a prank. And then they flipped that on a dime. And it's his roommate Jeff who's unsure if he wants to help him, and he walks up. You don't see him till the end, which that was a great thing in the end what he does. But uh, so I'm thinking. Sorry, let me get a drink here. Pineapple. So my eye went blurry there for a second. So they sneak into the coroner's office because they confirm that he has the original coroner's report. They sneak in, they have Lindy, I don't remember her character's name. She distracts him when he gets it, but then they get caught. And they do this thing, and they think that he has it, but he doesn't have it. She has it. And so they're going to set up this whole thing. Oh, he wasn't able to get anything, they think. They don't think about her at all. And Parker's like, okay, it's time to go to court and charge him for assault. But they get there, and he is arrested because they actually had the coroner's report, and it's like obstruction and conspiracy, stuff like that. So he's going to be arrested. And then we cut to Beckford's father approaching like the senator or leader in the Skulls or whatever and saying that I'm going to take you to court. And he goes, you never found a lawyer that would represent you. And well, I do now. And they showed it. It's Craig. It's his Greg, actually. Greg, Ryan's brother. And the only question I have about that is, wasn't he fired from his law firm? Don't you have half a firm behind you to be a lawyer? Unless he's doing pro bono cases. But I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I wouldn't know. But he was fired, right? So unless you found another law firm. And even then, I don't know how well that's going to work if the Skulls have that much power. And then we get the ending, which to me is kind of dull compared to the first one's shootout duel. They show up and say that a member is going to be exiled. Well, before that, they find out that there's no. He's like, oh, there's no proof. Turns out Jeff is a witness, and even though he didn't see anything, I don't think, but he's a witness, and that's Christopher Robin's character, by the way, and he's testifying and stuff. So, and remember, the Skulls are going to be exiled, and it's supposed to think, oh, it's going to be Ryan, but it's actually Parker. But they both end up exiled because Ryan, like Joshua Jackson's character, I forget his name, Lucas. Like Luke before him, exiles himself. Only this time it's to do the thing because they get that stamp, and so they have to do another thing to burn it off. I don't understand why they put that in there. It wasn't in the first one. I don't remember. You just gotta watch and a key in a book, as far as I know. And then Parker is also exiled. And then the movie ends with Allie showing up to talk. Oh, we could have been an it couple, and then they just end. And it's like, eh. But the whole thing with the Skulls, you demean everything the Skulls stand for. But the Skulls were still working with him to cover it up. The only reason why they're taking any kind of action is because they got caught. So they're kicking him out to distance themselves from that so the rest of the Skulls don't get hurt. They don't care. They just don't want to get caught or in trouble with the law, so they're kicking him out. So he only takes it. Yeah. But then he could also turn it on them, saying, well, I'll tell you everything you need to know about the Skulls. But yeah, I thought this movie was actually pretty good. And I think it's on par, not better than, but on par with the first one. I think it's pretty good. I don't think it's as good as the first one, actually. I think that's what on par means, but it's still good. The third one is the only one I really didn't like. So we're going to do we're going to pick the next category here. And I'm not looking. See? And, there's two. Okay, so we have a blank one. Really? I took out I was doing a test run last night. I put on another blank one. So, man, I have a couple blank ones. Let's do this again. Okay, so let's try this one more time. All right. We have Disney. all great. I didn't think I was going to get that early. But Disney. So I have to figure out. I'm not going to announce every time what I'm going to do. But I did come up with a little rules for myself. When it comes to picking these out, I have to pick from my personal collection. It has to be on Blu-ray, DVD, that kind of thing, or on my my personal Vudu account. I'll put that my personal Vudu account. My movies that are on my Vudu account, I can go from that. But unless I have put some streaming services in there like Netflix, Peacock, Crackle, and Tubi, all in here. I've added them into here. So if I get them, then I can choose the next streaming service. Otherwise, I have to pick my personal collection I have in physical media or on my Vudu. Nothing else. So here I am. I have to pick from my personal collection with Disney because unless I had Disney Plus, which I don't, then I can choose something Disney Plus. So I have an idea of what I want to do, but I'm gonna look through my Disney movies just to kind of confirm what I'm doing. But yeah. So continue on this journey with me. What are your thoughts on the Skulls 2? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.